Hi, AfterBuzzers. You're watching the AfterBuzz TV After Show for Containment Season 1, Episode 13, the series finale called Path to Paradise. Join us as we break down the episode and give you our thoughts and predictions. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Oh my god, this song is perfect.
It's like the perfect song for saying goodbye to the people that you love.
Yeah.
AKA you guys.
Oh, I love you guys too.
Yeah, it can be nice
love
this
you
week
guys.
sometimes.
This
It
is
only took
heartbreaking.
13 aftershocks.
This is heartbreaking. This is over. We said goodbye to some characters. We're going to talk about the series finale tonight. I'm your host, Katie Campbell. You could find me on Twitter at KatieEE Campbell. That's Katie with 3 E's Campbell. And across the table, Gabriel Gonzalez.
Hey guys, you can catch me on Twitter to talk everything containment, including the finale tonight at Double G on TV.
And Tiona Hobson.
Hello, everyone. You can find me at the Tiona Hobson. And yes, I do have the virus right now. That's why I sound so nasally. So, Gabriel, I might be passing it on to you. Hopefully I make it through the whole show without dropping dead, guys.
God.
We made it through 13 episodes of containment. I feel good about my chances. I like to point out I'm the only one with a perfect attendance record for our after show.
Okay.
So I'm safe. I made it.
Oh,
That don't mean nothing.
we were quarantined a few times, but we made it. We're here. That's
Yeah.
the finale.
Yes.
I got out of the isolation just to come make it to this.
Yeah,
I
okay.
seriously isolated myself in my room for the last 2 days.
48 hours. That's what
48
they
hours.
say. Well, honestly, if you isolated yourself that long and you're not
Dead.
dead,
I should be fine,
you're
right?
good. Yeah.
Okay,
we won't
good.
we won't be
So-
singing this
so
goodbye
you were-
song to you.
I was gonna say you were up to some Stranger Things.
Yes, I was.
Check her out on Twitter. She's doing a lot of great work for AfterBuzz TV and Netflix. It's awesome.
Thank you, Gabriel.
Yeah. Before we jump into tonight's episode, I want to say thank you guys so much for hanging out with us this season and always giving us your comments. And we want to know what you thought about this finale. So make sure you are subscribed to us on YouTube. That's youtube.com/AfterBuzzTV. And we're also on iTunes and SoundCloud. Give us that 5-star thumbs up. Leave a comment. Tweet us using the hashtag ABTV Containment. Because we want to know what you thought. Did you cry? Because
Katie did.
Yes.
I cried so hard. There were 2 really serious moments that I cried this episode. And I know we'll get there. I'll save those for the end.
Okay.
So I want to first start out by talking about Lex and, everything that he went through with this episode and Captain Scott doing the explosion saying that anyone is going to, everything's going to be neutralized by the end of day. That's a scary thing with that mentality, but I guess you kind of have to have that mentality, right?
I mean, he's Dr. Lomer's right-hand person on the field, so I think that says everything you need to know about what he's willing to do and the lack of compassion he's willing to have, just like his boss.
Yeah.
And at this point, it hasn't been confirmed that there's anyone down there. So he's just thinking we need to make sure that no one else can get out. So this is what we have to do to keep the rest of the world safe.
Right. As he's discussing that, Lex gets called into joint ops. Is that what it is?
Internal affairs.
Internal affairs, but it's OPS.
But OPS,
OPS.
yeah.
Okay. So internal affairs, he has a meeting with this guy named Blake, and they are pinning this whole thing on Lex, the guy that breached out of the quarter last episode and was, shot. They think that Lex is behind this whole thing just because he tried to get into the cordon before.
I guess I think that's another Dr. Lomer's string being pulled. So they knew they had to investigate it somehow because someone was helping them. So of course Dr. Lomer's, because she's in charge, is the one saying, you know what, you guys need to look into, Major Lex Carnahan.
I mean, the first thing Blake even said was, I never thought I'd be investigating you, or that you would be in this situation. So clearly Lex is not the kind of cop that does things that internal affairs has to get involved in often. So it was a little out of left field that they immediately went to him. There's so many other cops. He wasn't even on duty. You could go through the list. I mean, the first thing Lex does is go ask for the log of who's been working. And just from that, he sees an inconsistency right away and solves the whole thing. So if internal affairs really thought he was responsible, they would have looked at the sign-in log to see who was supposed to be working that shift.
true.
And also, Blake did really let him off the hook. You think he could have really kept Lex there, considering the severity of the situation, but he let Lex go. I think we take that to assume that Blake also knew it was a Dr. Lomer's scheme.
Oh, really? You think?
I mean, let's be honest. If they were really investigating it, they could have kept him in there for dramatic effect. Mm-hmm. They let him go rather easily, so that's why I think, well, he knew, but, no one wants to mess with Lomers because she can make the people disappear, right? Yeah. Has the president on speed dial.
Oh.
President on speed dial didn't really help her much out tonight.
Good thing.
Well, we're gonna get
I love how strong and smart Lex is. And like you said, Tiona, he went and found that list of, who's working and if anything changed and there was an inconsistency there. He finds out that Walden and Meese are working together because
Walden tells him. But
right.
Walden and I didn't catch the other guy's name had switched shifts.
Kuko.
Yeah. They had switched shift, and Walden was the guy who was complaining about having to work afternoons in the first place. And so to Lex, that's like a red flag. Hey, remember how you said you wanted to spend time with your family? I mean, Walden turned over the information pretty easily.
Well, he did, but also, too, Meese has been lying to Walden.
Yeah, Meese has been getting... So you took it to assume, all right, 2 halves, so Walden would get the other half, but no, he thought, they were just doing what's right by the people, and it turns out Meese is the one profiting, and Walden's just been there putting his neck on the line just on his morals, essentially, and that didn't go over well with him.
Money?
No. Remember, because Lex is like, you didn't know Meese was making money off of this, did you? And then Walden was kind of left, well, I guess I've just been doing this for the good of the people, unlike Meese.
Right. Who also went in there voluntarily.
Yeah.
Which they never closed out the story with the chief and what was going on behind that.
That's what kind of sucks that it doesn't have a second season because there's all these things that are left open that could be explored in so many ways, and you just, with 13 episodes, you don't have enough time to tell the full story. But they did close out a lot of things, which is more than most shows get.
Right. And then we have Lex going to Lomer's and asking, basically telling her there's people down there, because that's what Walden told Lex. So there's people down in the tunnels. I want to go in there. Let me go in there with my cops and, send them back. Just to save people. We don't want to just kill people just to get it all closed. And Lomer's, I was surprised she gave him an hour. I was surprised at that.
I actually, when I saw that, I thought, you're planning to close the tunnel on him, aren't you, Lomer's? I mean, she has a perfectly good way to make it look like an accident.
She's going to literally bury him.
Alive, yes.
Oh, no.
And we all know she would have been okay doing it, fans. It's the last night. I got to get it in while I still can.
I didn't see it like that. I thought that she does not care about having to lose lives, but she isn't a super monster where she's going to let people, when they're in there, she's going to at least give them a shot at survival first before burying them. Yeah.
And then, though, she's just so cold because she says later on, when the time ran up and Captain Scott says, okay, like, what do you want me to do? She's like, start the explosions again. Even when they're in there, just start them.
I mean, that's why I've said, Miss Claudia Black is the biggest villain on network television.
Yeah.
That was cold-blooded because she's worked so closely with Lex that you'd think you would feel some sort of way, but it was actually kind of great to see how she was in the situation compared to how Lex is in the situation. Here you have Lommers, who's been working really closely with Lex over the past 19 days, and they've built this relationship and a friendship, and then all of a sudden, when he's not responding, she's like, okay, he knew the consequences coming in here, whereas Lex, when he's standing off with Jenny, he has to make a decision, and he just is like, I'm just gonna go with you.
I do think it's important to note we finally, because one of those things that was always going to come to a point is Dr. Lomer's going to go on the side of logic and just say, to hell with the cordon, we're doing what we have to keep those people inside no matter what? Or is she going to choose on the side of compassion after 19 days, 13 episodes of bonding with Lex? We found out the side that she ultimately took, and we saw with the aftermath, she made her bed, and you got that impression that Lomer's knew what she had done and like I said, she made her bed and she knows she has to sleep in it now. That's just the end of that story.
I love how we actually brought her out and shed light onto everything that she was doing. We have the cops, going into Lex's dad's house, searching his house, and Lex's dad hides the flash drive and grabs it. And I love the relationship between Lex and his father. It seemed to repair a little bit over, the time that they've spent together.
Yeah, it went from being a non-relationship to actually, his dad is now living with Lex and in there and taking care of things, and Lex trusts him enough to go out and find Leo and to handle what needs to be done.
Yeah. He trusts him enough to do that.
Yeah.
In case Lex didn't come out alive.
Which, I mean, he's alive,
alive.
But he didn't come out.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
Lovers is going to have to answer to
Everybody.
everyone.
Yes.
And her face, she was scared.
She was, but you know what? It wasn't as satisfying as if she would have gotten sick. Just end of story. I mean, I know justice is about to be served by the law. No, she was supposed to get sick. I stood by that for 13 after shows and it didn't happen.
I'm sad this is the last episode because I want to see her try to crawl out of this one.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
She's smart enough to do it too. This is scary.
I just loved the smug look she had because she did look scared at first, but then by the end of it, the last shot we see of her is a typical Lumber's like, you know what? Dust it off, hold my head up, and I'm still better than all of you. And I was just thinking, you know what, girl? You go, girl.
Yeah.
Because you've done some really bad stuff, and the whole world knows it now, and all of these people are judging the hell out of you.
Yeah.
And she's still just gonna walk out of there with her head held high.
She's not walking out of anything. You know what? The news, they played a little bit of the news, already questioning her and questioning how quick America just believed her story. So I feel like if this even, wasn't given out by Leo Green, I think some things would have unraveled for her. Because they were questioning.
What sucks is we're never going to know now, but I do agree that, had the show continued, I feel like we would have gotten a very interesting next chapter for Lomers, because I do believe there would have been something else not connected to the Atlanta situation that I think we would have learned about and would have maybe set some more precedent for the show.
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about the tunnels and what was going on there. I hate Mies. I really do.
He really is a jerk.
Yeah. I mean, people are dying all over the place, and he's wanting the rest of the half of the money up front before they go in the tunnels. And I love how smart Jana is, standing up for everyone, saying, no, if we make it out alive, then I'll give you the rest of it. And he listens to her. Everybody bows down to Jana.
Well, I mean, she's torched tweakers, she's helped deliver babies. She's kind of really, I mean, she was already an adult, but really grew up before our eyes throughout the show. And I think she intimidates a lot of the male characters that have been around her.
Yeah, she does.
She's a badass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
Yep.
And there's some scary explosions going on down there, and rocks are falling. I was really scared for that baby.
I was too.
The whole time.
I really thought that Xander and Teresa were going to get separated, and that would have been, okay, so after all that they've gone through, now one of them really does have to leave the other. So I was actually surprised that, they did stick together.
Oh my God, I was hoping that family would make it through, or make it out, kind of. I mean, they had to go back. They were separated from the rest of the gang. Yeah, are you sick over there?
Sorry.
No, it's okay. So
I mean, we're done after tonight. I'm not even go for it.
They were separated from the rest of the gang and had to go back to the store.
Yeah.
And I love that Teresa says, I want to stay and clean this up. This is where I grew up. This is my mom's store. And plus, do you see how many boxes of food there were?
Oh,
There's
yeah,
a lot of boxes of food in there. I guess Trey and his gang just kind of gave up on that place, and
Well,
once everyone went to the blood drive, it was just, what, we're not going back there.
Exactly. I was going to say, after a while that planned, I think they just the people have resigned that they're not going to make it out. Obviously, some more stuff happened that might change that, but after 19 days, you see that people are just trying to make it seem normal. They're still walking the streets peacefully, just masks on. So I guess I took that to assume that even Trey's gang knew that we're not getting out of here, even though it felt like that early on. If there was a season 2, I would say that they would stay in there like past day 50. Let's say it like that.
Well, the team of Jana and Susie and Quentin, they get to the end, and Mies sees Walden, and Walden, there's some tension between them. Walden now knows Mies is lying to him, and Mies just wants to get these people out. He wants to get paid, and Mies shoots Walden dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was shocked at that.
Yeah.
I did not see that coming. I guess I should have because it's Mies, but I mean, I saw Walden kind of with his hand on his gun too, and I thought maybe he would get the shot off.
Yeah.
I didn't think so. I think the second that Walden just kind of took the minute to banter with Mies, that's when it's like, Mies is going to get him. That's the thing about bad guys. They're always willing to shoot the good guy first. They're not going to wait for a fair fight. And that's what we saw out of Mies.
But then where did Mies go after that?
That's my question.
He survived.
Where did he go?
I think he made it out, personally.
To the outside of the cordon.
Yes.
But if he gets out of the cordon, people already know he's in there, so they're going to start questioning that. He's going to be quarantined outside, right? Or maybe shot.
He's made a lot of money. He's probably been able to make himself disappear. Just, he doesn't go out the main tunnel that they were looking for him. Escapes, finds his wife, pays everything cash, and Mies is gone.
How many people did he get out?
That's
These
a
are
great
questions
question.
I want answered.
Why,
We're
Julie
gonna have
Plec?
to
Why?
tweet Julie Plec and
I
ask
know.
her all these questions.
But Lex and Jana, Lex, sees people coming, and he says, you guys have to turn around, and then he sees Jana. And, that moment was so heartbreaking because he still wanted to, protect the outside. He didn't want to let this virus out. And, what we saw with Thomas, you never know if somebody could be carrying the virus and not be affected themselves, but bring it out there for the world. So I just feel like he made the right choice.
I agree. And in that, what we've come to learn from Lex is he's given so much of himself personally, not just, being a cop, but as a person. He's had to really go from, not just black and white to all those shades of gray. Mm-hmm. And I think what we took to learn is that, he has given so much to this idea that, this is for the greater good. We do this for the greater good. In a way, almost the flip side of Lawmers, except, the ends they're willing to reach to achieve that goal. So I think that's what we took to learn from Lex. And I just like that symmetry that, it started, all he wanted was for her to move in with him. And now we get to episode 13, she's finally offering to do that. And it's not what he wants anymore, I felt like. And that was very interesting.
Well, in a perfect world, he would have her move in, but he's moving in with her into the cordon.
The cordon.
In a perfect world, we wouldn't have lost Katie in episode 8.
That was 8?
No, that was
No.
11.
Oh,
11,
8.
sorry.
Yeah.
I was thinking we were at 10 episode finale, sorry.
Yeah, episode 11.
You know what I meant.
Yeah, but I think Lex it was great to see him make that decision because he also got the closure with his dad. He knew Leo was going to handle everything. He trusted them to take care of what needed to be done outside of the cordon. So his duty was done there, and his new duty is starting inside.
Oh, that was a good way to put it.
I'd say this is a single teardrop for that, but it's actually just my allergies, so
I don't know.
wipe that one away. Boom.
I'm more disappointed that after all that, and we didn't see Jake and Lex finally just hug it out like, bro. Because remember, Lex was the one who sent him in there in the first place and put him on his journey. So I would have thought that Lex finally, even if they don't show conversation, that compassion, like, I'm sorry this happened to you.
Lex sent him into the arms of a lover, even though she's not there anymore, but he found love.
He found love.
So
You can't be mad at Lex over that anymore because made Jake a
good.
better person.
Right.
So you think, better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, that's Jake's line.
That's Jake's life. Story of his life.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so something we've been waiting... That was beautiful, by the way. Something we've been waiting for this entire season is the hope for a cure. And maybe we found it. I don't know. So this whole storyline with Cannerts begins with trying to save Cinco. Trey's, threatening him, you need to save Cinco. And poor little Thomas is about to be drained of blood completely. Oh my God.
Well, he is a little Superman.
It looked like a weird vampire type of treatment of, we're just going to drain this kid of all his blood until he's dead so we can save everyone else. Yeah. And I'm just sitting here thinking, no, this cannot be right. No. This cannot be okay. How much blood can one tiny human produce in a day and still be able to survive on his own? And I don't know the answer to that because I did not pay attention in science.
So I think you can get, how many liters?
I don't know, because also you can't get the same amount of blood out of him that you would out of a healthy adult. Yeah. And think, I've never given blood, but how long do you have to wait between, donations? Like 2 weeks or a month?
I think it's I haven't given a month.
Yeah.
I wanted to say.
Fans definitely, I'm sure a lot of people have done it, let us know.
I think it's I was over a liter of blood. I think you might be in danger.
Maybe.
Yeah, because at 2 liters you die, right? Something like that.
Well, whatever the case, we can't take a lot of blood out of Thomas.
All I know is that he should have gotten cookies after all of this because that's what they give you at blood drives is cookies and snacks.
And I hope that he's eating beforehand too. You're supposed to have a meal.
Well, because it's containment, I really hope they gave him cake. But
well, the whole thing that Dr. Cannerts is trying to do is draw out the antiserum and mix it with interferon, and the combination could save Cinco and whoever else is sick. But Cinco starts having seizures and he dies immediately. Trey gets so mad, he starts getting violent with Cannerts. But I love that Jake told him, hey, this guy is your only hope to get out of here right now. So whatever anger you have, focus it somewhere else.
Which is right, because if you take out this guy in frustration and anger, then later on it's going to lead to even more repercussions. And I like that Jake said, I've lost too, and I'm angry too, but you have to channel that anger into something that can help.
Yeah, and he really did get into his mind with that too.
He did, and I think that was, as far as Trey's story arc, we did see quite a progression for him. I have to say, though, I have a problem with that entire part of the story.
What?
Just because, okay, we see a change in Trey. He's not just that villain, there is another side to him. But when you think about it, how many episodes was Trey in? Yeah. We went through 3 to 4 episode stretch without him, though.
I'd say he was in at least 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we went through a stretch without him, and one of the things they kind of introduced is the fact that, hey, to escape or to resolve this situation, at some point they're going to have to go through Trey as well to get to safety. That's been kind of just a underlying tone and underlying situation all season, and we never got it. For Trey's character, we saw Michael Shannon Jenkins just show off his acting chops in this really complex character, but it's from a character we didn't see enough, and I felt like that kind of took away from some of the tension of the episode.
Yeah.
Because that's one, okay, now Jake has to go through Trey, now Jana's in the tunnel, now Lex might get killed by llamas, and it was just another thing missing where I really thought, hey, this is season finale at least, let's raise those stakes. This is what we've been waiting for, 13 episodes.
Well, I thought was interesting with Trey this episode was the fact that the whole time he was, worried about Teresa's baby. He's got a kid outside. We see he has a connection with children because he has one himself. So when Thomas was getting drained of his blood, he didn't care. I guess it was because of his brother on the table, but I just thought that was funny. I don't care about Thomas.
Maybe it was a matter of Trey finally what is it that's going to happen that makes me willing to turn my back on my values? And we saw it was the death of Cinco and just the fact that his brother was sick.
Well, to solve this whole Thomas blood situation, we decided to have a blood drive and blood testing to figure out if somebody else holds the antibodies that Thomas has. And I love Jake, he's holding on to how much Katie affected him because he first went out and tried to get people to come to this thing. Nobody wanted to come, so then he was sitting down where the ashes are kept and looking at Katie's ashes and sitting there really down about it. Nobody's going to want to help. I can't fix anything. And then he remembers, no, Katie, you know, is proud of me. She wants me to be strong. She wants me to do the right thing. And, you know, even though she's not in the episode, she's there.
Her presence is felt.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we saw that in the last episode too, where he
Yeah.
kind of sees Katie.
And it helps him push on to keep fighting and be strong and make it out of this.
I'm glad that he read out the names of the people who have died from the virus so far. I thought that was very touching and definitely a way to get people's attention, because you're hearing the names of people you might have known, your loved ones, your family, and you know, that's a call to action.
Yeah.
Because you can see all the posters and billboards you want about being a bone marrow transplant volunteer, but until someone in your family needs that, you don't realize the importance and like go in and actually get tested and do it. So his call to action was very, very good.
Yeah, it's powerful.
I was gonna say, I think there's two things. That's something Katie probably would have thought of, and two, of course, what we love. Katie would have been very proud of Jake. That's what I like about it. And one thing, just sitting here, I realized we were hinted at that the priest might have been healthy. Do you guys remember the episode where they're trying to get out through the
Yep.
church? How many sick people were going up to the priest?
I wrote that down too. It makes sense.
Yes.
How didn't we catch it? Because it was so quick.
We weren't thinking about it. And
That scene was so fast, though. In one of the episodes, you know, I don't know, that was like episode,
it was a long time ago. They were still at
9 or 8.
Midscan.
yeah, long
Yeah, but
time
it was
ago.
when they were
Barely
trying
got
to
out.
escape through.
Yes.
The church. And it was a long time ago. He's working with all these sick people, and he's not sick himself.
Yeah,
So,
I think because we would have thought, okay, well, that priest isn't going to live long if all the sick people, and we just took it to assume that. So I think that's really crazy that, you know what? It was right there in front of us. We saw it right there on screen.
yeah.
Can't believe it.
I'm excited we found someone else.
And it's a full-grown human, so, you know, you can take
produce
more blood
tons
from
of
that
blood.
guy.
Can we just stock up on blood for a while before we start attacking it and then go?
I take it to assume that canards, now that they do have enough to really mess with it, they can take the time to really produce something that'll fight the virus.
Okay.
Although I gotta point it out, that line that the priest gave, you know, it's like, we found you, and just that fashion God found me, and then I'm like, you know what? Well, I guess you're
did.
not wrong.
He did.
It was so unexpected, but that's what I liked about it, because it
Yeah.
was just so authentic and had that great reaction from Jake and Canards.
Okay. I want to get to one of the storylines that made me cry.
Oh, gosh.
Birdie and Mishy.
Oh no.
Grandpa and Grandma. I mean, I really thought they were going to get out alive.
Look, last week I said that everyone must die. I was in a very dark place, and I said all men must die.
Yeah, I'm not over that.
For this storyline, if they were not going to make it out together, this is the only way I would have been okay with what happens to them.
Okay.
If it was either they both make it and survive, or they both go out together, Romeo and Juliet style. We're gonna poison our drinks, drink it, cuddle up on the couch, and go out like G's.
Maybe they didn't take enough. Listen, maybe they didn't take enough, and they'll wake up, and everything will be
Katie,
good.
you're living
is some
in
wishful
the Disney
thinking.
G-rated fantasy. We
I
are on
know.
the CW. This
Yes.
is TVPG.
Oh my God.
13.
The way that they did it, she's like, I'm tired. You know, get out that bottle of wine that we were saving. And they put the drugs in it. And they had the Richmore Lodge. And he's in a tux. And she's walking down the stairwell. And everybody's watching. There's a light snowfall outside. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
It was perfect
It
for
was.
them.
I know, and
getting
then
too
and
sappy
they
in
say
here.
"I love you," and they're holding each other, and he says, "I'll see you at the Richmore Lodge."
Oh, I'm not gonna lie, that was great.
Oh
Like-
my gosh! And they died.
we
right?
predicted, you know, they would, if they're gonna go out, they're gonna go out in like Notebook fashion, same time, and they
Yes,
did.
they did.
Oh, they're dancing up in
They're
heaven.
dancing on a cloud. She can walk because, you know,
Oh,
And
yes.
so can he.
so could he.
Yes.
They're both healed. Leanne's there.
Oh.
It's all, they're reunited with their family.
And they could watch over
Okay.
Teresa, Xander, and Little Leanne.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm happy now.
And all is
Oh.
right with the world.
And the way that they closed out the show, that was another thing that had me in tears. We have Jake giving a voiceover.
So was this sort of like time has moved on? Is this a couple days later? Was this happening at the same time? I just was a little confused.
Same time, I think.
I thought same time as well.
Because, you know, Teresa and Xander are kissing each other and all engaged and stuff. So I was like, maybe it's a couple days later.
Yeah,
But
or
then-
maybe like a couple hours later,
Yeah.
because they had to get out of that tunnel
Yeah.
soon.
Okay.
And I'd also like to point out, you know what, after 20 days, by now everyone knows who's sick, who isn't, essentially. That I think we're also saying, you know, the 4 to 6 feet thing, that's done. That's no way to live anymore, especially if this is going to be indefinite. You know, you just have to... It's about the bonds you make with people when you're in these situations, and I think that's what that was supposed to illustrate with Teresa and Xander. It doesn't matter, you know, 4 to 6 feet, or if we get sick, we're in this together. And I
Yeah.
think that's what that was all supposed to illustrate.
Yeah, we saw everybody kind of, you know, embracing each other
Yes.
in the very end. We have Grandma and Grandpa, you know, Jake said a really interesting thing, you know, this kind of thing, this virus, this situation changes everyone, and everyone changes, you know, differently. They come out of this situation differently. Grandma and Grandpa, they kind of gave up, which is really sad. Teresa and Xanda, they rise up, and they're fixing the store. He proposes to her. What was that?
It looked like
Foil.
tinfoil.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so cute, though, how she got really excited.
Yeah. I mean, I like that they have the store because now they have a source of income. They're young parents, but they have a business that they'll be running together, raised in the same fashion that she was raised, and, you know, be able to support and provide for little Leanne.
Yeah. All the food that they have.
All that food,
The
though.
baby's gonna grow up nice and strong.
Yeah. Sometimes this virus brings out the worst in people. Lammers, who was getting questioned by the media already. He's enjoying this over here.
I love it.
And then new alliances are formed. We have the dad and Leo, which I think they're going to face some other obstacles, right?
Well, without Lex there, I think they're the ones who are gonna step up in front of the president and testify against Lammers. If there were a season 2.
It's going to happen, in my mind.
And then they're gonna throw her in the cordon as punishment. Because I can't let it go.
Yeah. We have Lex choosing to go into the cordon with Jana, you know, heart versus duty. He chooses both. And Jake with Katie's ashes, throwing them off the building. And that's already hard enough. It was the most beautiful scene of the ashes falling off the building. And then we go on his face and he says, "I love you, Katie." That just made me cry harder.
And then Katie cried.
Yes.
Yeah, I did.
Katie can project onto containment, Katie.
Katie and Katie.
Katie
That
and
was
Katie.
really sweet. The one thing that's very illegal to,
Oh, yeah.
to toss ashes anywhere. You cannot dispose of your loved one's ashes, not even into the ocean, guys. It's
Yeah.
illegal. Trust me, I know this.
Yeah, I've heard
How?
that too. But so many people do it.
So many people do it, so
Yes.
it's not like people don't do it. Just don't get caught, is
There's
what
not
I'm saying.
enough cops in the cordon.
Yeah,
I was
cop
gonna
in the
say,
cordon.
hey,
That's
like,
fine.
you're acting like the rules still apply in there.
I just didn't want fans to go home and think that they could just go start tossing people's
right.
ashes off of
true.
buildings.
Do not try that at home.
Don't try it at home is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But it was a beautiful, beautiful send off. I wish
was.
that we could have seen Quentin there with him.
Yes.
I think that
Yes.
would have just been the icing on the cake because Quentin is now back in the what's it called? The cordon. So just to have him there to say a final farewell to his mom as well would have been very sweet.
Yeah, and I want Jake to be watching over Quentin too.
Which, I mean, that's coming. Well,
Yeah.
we're not going to see it, but we know that's what's going to happen because we know Lex and Jake are going to find each other. We know that they're going to be besties, and we know that Quentin's going to be kind of
Yeah.
with them hanging out. And the only reason I want the cordon to happen a little bit longer is so that Jake can be Quentin's dad.
Yeah.
Because I don't want Quentin going back to those mean grandparents.
I was gonna say, I feel like, you know, Jake referenced in the last episode how much Quentin is his family now. And let's be honest, with the cordon still there, I feel like Lex, Jana, all of them would have finally come together. And Jake would understand that this is their family, and
New
this
family.
who they're going to rely on for the rest of their lives, and they've learned that throughout the experience.
Oh, I felt like they closed this very fast. The last couple, this
Yes.
last thing when Jake was talking, it was all closed very fast. But we could just open them right back up and have so much more to explore with all of the characters.
Yes.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What happened to your homie Sam?
I know, I was thinking that too. They're going to find him. Maybe he
Killing
went back
people.
to BitScan. No, he went back to BitScan. They'll find him. They'll all be good. They'll all hang out.
They gotta hook up for food now
It's
because
true,
they they delivered Teresa's baby,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
she kind of owes them a little bit. So I don't think they'll be fighting over food or anything
You
like
don't
that.
think Trey is going to try to take back the store
I
again?
think Trey has found Jesus,
Yeah.
and he is going down a better path.
I was going to say, can you imagine him at the church with the white gown, or what do they call it?
Listen,
Just your robes
Complete
on.
new, yeah, the robe, there it is.
in our minds, everybody's going to be safe from now on. We're going to find a cure, and everything's going to be good.
Everyone's gonna be happy and safe in the cordon.
Yes. Well,
They're
we can
having a
dream.
picnic right now.
I hope Julia
We
can
can
just
dream.
send us some kind of a, blog it or something. Let us know what's going on with them.
Send us that season 2, episode
Yeah.
1 script you got.
Julie
Let me know.
Plack, I mean, it's not going anywhere. There's like after a while, if you find out it's not going to Netflix, just come on, send it to AfterBuzz TV. We'd love to talk to you about it.
There's a petition going around
There
for the
is a
Netflix,
petition.
so
Yes,
Netflix saves everything.
let's push that out there.
it's true.
There's so much more to explore.
Yeah.
I do gotta ask,
Yeah.
13 episodes, did you guys, how did you feel about the fact that the cordon is still up after 13 episodes?
I knew that it was still going to be up after 13 episodes because that's
Yeah.
too much crap to figure out in that amount of time.
Yeah, and the way it was going, it would have made no sense for everything to be figured out this episode. Would have been happy, but it would have made no sense for a story.
I guess I would have wanted to see, the last scene, maybe the door finally opening for the people kind of deal. That's what I feel like, after we've been through all this, it has to come
Yeah.
down, and we just have to deal with the aftermath emotionally. The fact that it was still up, I don't know how I feel about it.
Oh.
Maybe fans, how do you guys feel about it? But that was one that was like, I really thought those walls were finally going to come down.
Yeah, I just felt a sense of hope when you said that.
Oh, Katie.
I tried, okay? I tried.
Well, Katie, here's
I
a
put
little
my wishes to the universe all week.
here's a little hope for you and everyone else who's listening, because it's been announced that Kristen Gutowski and Christina Moses are both going on to the Vampire Diaries and the originals, respectively.
Nice.
Gutowski is going to play Celine on the 8th season of Vampire Diaries, and she's basically going to be Caroline's nanny.
That's right, yeah.
So this is going to be an interesting character coming into swing here.
Nice.
So it's going to be a lot of fun to see Kristen. She lives on, guys. Katie
Yes.
lives on.
And she's great with kids.
She's great
Yeah.
with kids. We know this already. She can play the guitar and sing, so she's going to be the perfect nanny. She's going to be like Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
Until I don't know.
But then do they bring back
know.
Kai somehow?
Well, Julie Pleck was asked
Right?
about that, and she said that every writing session, they always pitch an idea of how to get Kai back.
Yeah.
But nothing good enough has come up, no storyline has come up great enough of an explanation of how he gets back. But she's like, it's always on our mind. And
Containment fans, you have a way now. Make it happen.
And then Christina, who plays Jana, is going over to the originals, and she's actually going to be playing a werewolf. A bisexual werewolf. So
I love
that'll
it.
be an interesting character. Her and her
Alright.
big curly hair
Hair.
like Katie's. It's gonna be a perfect
I want
fit.
to be a werewolf.
Yeah. So
am a
Containment
werewolf.
lives on in Vampire Diaries and the originals. Vampire Diaries is back in the fall in late October, and originals will be back in early 2017.
Can't wait. Yeah. Can't wait to talk about those two when they come back.
You
And
guys gotta invite me on to guest on one of these days. I'm gonna miss these talks.
yeah, I know. This was a very fun season and after show. And thank you guys so much for tuning in with us. There are no predictions since this is
Kind of gave them all.
Yeah.
Everyone's happy in our minds.
That's our predictions. Everything's great. World is wonderful. The sun is shining, and we found a vaccine.
It's a sunny day in Atlanta today.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Where can everybody find you to talk about this and how they felt about the show?
You guys can find me at the Tiona Hobson on Twitter and Instagram, and make sure you guys check me out on the Stranger Things after show on Netflix. It's on their YouTube page, youtube.com/Netflix. It was produced by AFTERBUZZ TV, so make sure you guys check that out.
It's great. I want to give you guys a quick shout out. I think when we did the first episode, it was only like maybe my third or fourth after show. I've done a bunch now, but I know you guys are such veterans, and you guys made me feel so welcome on the first day.
Oh, thank you.
I've had a lot of fun being here with you guys.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we see each other all the time. You know, it's not goodbye, but I want to give you guys that shout out on the air. I really enjoyed it because it's not always that way.
Thank you.
Yeah, and yeah, guys, let's talk containment and everything else at AfterBuzz. You can find me on Twitter at Double G on TV.
And you can find me on Twitter at Katie E.E. Campbell. That's Katie with 3 E's Campbell. Instagram at Katie Campbell 13 and youtube.com/Katie Campbell online. And you could also find me Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for the MTV Scream After Show. I'll be doing that for a couple more weeks. And we had so much fun. So tweet us, you guys.
Yes.
And we'll see you next time we're on a show.
Yeah, we'll see you guys.
Great.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.